Hello everyone. Today we begin with the right side of the round of 32, and we will begin with quadrant 2 for our first matchup this episode of the tournament. We see the 15th seed Sawblaze take on the 18th seed Minotaur. For our first match, we see the 15th seed Sawblaze and the 18th seed Minotaur. And for Sawblaze, they're in their career, they're sitting at 6 wins and 7 losses. And Minotaur is sitting at 9 wins and 6 losses. So if Minotaur wins this fight in the tournament, they will get to 10 mark win. And for Sawblaze, they want to have an even record if they win this fight. And so both bots in the season are sitting at 3-1. So this will be a very interesting matchup. And it's supposed to be very close due to the seeding, which is 15 versus 18, which is supposed to be a close matchup. But like in real life, this might not be a very close matchup due to the bots in LEGO being very different from the bots in real life. But let's see who can win this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. Great job by Sawblaze getting under. And they do it again. Sawblaze is getting under consistently here against Minotaur, which is what you want to see if you're a bot like Sawblaze. Minotaur cannot do much because they don't have any ground game, which is very key in this kind of channel and in this kind of situation, which is what you want to have, especially in LEGO. But great job by Sawblaze getting under as they slam Minotaur in the wall. Minotaur now getting the backside and doing a little bit of damage, but not enough to really turn the fight. They're getting some bats around on Sawblaze, but not enough. So Sawblaze has the overall ground advantage. The Minotaur does not have the pure aggression they need, the pure ground game they need to really beat Sawblaze if they can. And so far Sawblaze now putting Minotaur in the screw. They have controlled the fight from every angle. And Minotaur now on their back, but they can indeed battle on their back. So they can be very easily inverted. And now Sawblaze putting Minotaur on more of their back side, where they couldn't do anything, but then they held them down. Now Minotaur is trying to use its aggression, but it's not working for Minotaur at all, as Sawblaze continues to control. But here is Minotaur as they get a good shot. But now then Sawblaze gets right back under and sways the fight more and more. Minotaur is still struggling. They're trying to get some good aggression as they do there, and they bat around Sawblaze a little bit there, getting 2 great shots. But now Sawblaze is taking more control, putting Minotaur on the screws, and now putting Minotaur out of the arena. Sawblaze controlled this tempo from start to finish, besides only 3 or 4 hiccups in their control. They put Minotaur towards the wall a bunch, and Minotaur never really found a groove and or a way to get under Sawblaze, besides 2 mistakes that Minotaur got under, and 2 mistakes by Sawblaze that were mostly on purpose for Sawblaze, because they were having too much fun controlling this fight. And Minotaur never really got past, besides those 2 hiccups for Sawblaze, Minotaur never really found a way past that to get more damage on Sawblaze. And it worked out in Sawblaze's favor, because they just got under again, and then eventually put Minotaur on the screws. And then despite Minotaur coming back down of the screws, they put him right back on and threw him out of the arena using the screws. What a win by Sawblaze, putting them into the round of 16. What a win and dominant win by Sawblaze, as they now will move on to the round of 16 to either take on the 2-seed Witch Doctor or the 31-seed Captain Shred Raider. And now we will continue the round of 32 by moving to quadrant 3. Now our next fight will be between the 11-seed Barricade and the 22-seed Standalone. This will be a very interesting matchup. The 11-seed Barricade and the 22-seed Standalone. Barricade is on the verge of going to 10-6 like a Minotaur hoped to do. And we'll see if Barricade actually can do it, because they're sitting at the same career record as Minotaur was before Minotaur lost. And so if Barricade wins this matchup, they will move to 10 wins and get that stable win to 10 wins, obviously. And for Standalone, they just want to win this fight because this is their first season and they don't have anything to lose. And this would be an upset in the tournament. And for the Chicken Chips Robotics mascot in Standalone, they are probably going to get a somewhat of a redesign and getting better wedges. So they just kind of want to prove something that they can compete with the big dogs. And this would prove a whole bunch if they can even stay in the match against Barricade. This should be very interesting of a matchup. Let's go down to the pits to find out who wins the second match of the round of 32. Let the bot battle begin, and looks like Barricade is going to spin up and get some good shots on Standalone to start this matchup. And a great shot by Barricade there. Standalone has to find a way to get under Barricade, which is very hard to do since Barricade is basically a brick and has a very much of sheer firepower, which Standalone does lack. And Barricade taking some nasty shots to Standalone, as Standalone is getting more and more defenseless as this fight goes on. And Barricade is finding new ways to win as boss every single matchup. Some by breaking bots, some by just outlasting them. And there goes one of the parts of the forks for Standalone, as they're now getting battered around more and more. And Barricade is not even having to do much, because Standalone is such a light bot. And they are continuing to batter around Standalone, as Standalone is still struggling. And Barricade is just not even having to do much. And there goes the other fork of Standalone. Now Standalone is fully defensive. And there's a great shot by Barricade, as Barricade is now using the other bot to take some control. And there goes that front hinge flipper of this fight. Looks like it will be over, and 10, Standalone will lose this matchup, 7, and Barricade 6, will move 5, on 4, to the round of 16 for the second straight season. This win for Barricade secured full dominance. Barricade did not break a sweat, picking apart piece by piece of Standalone. Standalone did all the aggression, but since Standalone was such a light bot, they got battered around a lot more, because Barricade is a brick, and Standalone could not ever find a way to get under Barricade, and Barricade didn't even have to be aggressive at all, because Standalone was the aggressor, which whenever the other bot's aggressive towards Barricade, it always works out in Barricade's favor. And Barricade eventually broke off the front hinge flipper of Standalone and let it be a countdown. Great win by Barricade. For our next matchup, we stay in quadrant 3 as we see the 3-seed Whiplash fight to get into the round of 16 once again against the 30-seed Switchback. Now we see the 3 seed Whiplash take on the 30 seed Switchback, and Whiplash actually has not gone to the round of 16 both their seasons. They went to the round of 32 in the first season, and then the round of 16 in the second season. And so they want to get back to the round of 16, and maybe even further if they can make it that far. But in their first matchup, they take on the 30 seed Switchback. So on paper, Whiplash is the heavy favorite. But we have seen on this channel major upsets, and in Battlebots in general, we've seen major upsets. So it could happen here, but it's a lot less likely due to Switchback and not having any ground game or any way to get under Whiplash, while Whiplash could take full control very easily against a bot like Switchback. And Whiplash can more so toy with its food as much as it wants and throw Switchback out of the arena whenever it wants. But we will have to see who can win this match down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. Looks like it's going to be Whiplash getting the upper hand against Switchback. Switchback is probably going to do a redesign next season. They actually have some forks, which would help them in every case. And for Whiplash right now, they are toying with Switchback, now they put Switchback on their back for a few seconds. But now Switchback is right side up. But Switchback's drum is not doing much of anything against a bot like Whiplash. And Whiplash now raising their lifter and grabbing like a jaw and putting Switchback in the screws again. So Whiplash is taking full control here against Switchback, and Switchback cannot do anything. Whiplash is having too much fun, and Switchback is beyond struggling as Whiplash puts them in the screws once again. And Switchback is continuing to struggle. Whiplash just sits there as they wait for Switchback. They want a clean knockout without giving up any sort of hiccups. And so far they are doing that with ease, as Switchback trying to get some damage done to Whiplash, but Whiplash is still taking control and making it almost impossible for Switchback to even have a chance to do anything, as now they're getting batted around more and more, and Whiplash throws Switchback out of the arena. It did not take much for Whiplash to win this fight. All they had to do was keep on controlling Switchback, and that's exactly what they did. They put Switchback in the screws multiple times and never let up a sweat against a bot, even in Switchback. And Switchback never found a way to do any sort of damage to Whiplash's frame, as Whiplash had controlled the entire fight. And Whiplash even put Switchback on their back a couple times, and eventually used that lifter to throw Switchback out of the arena and got the win they needed, and very dominantly in that, as they now will move on to the round of 16 once again. Great win by Whiplash. They will now move on to the round of 16 for the second year in a row. They will take on the 14th seed Bloodsport or the 19th seed Bronco, which we will see later this episode. And now, for our next matchup, we will move down to quadrant 2. For our next matchup, we see the 10 seed Blip take on the 23 seed Bite Force. This should be a very interesting matchup, as we see the 10 seed Blip and the 23 seed Bite Force. Bite Force has never been higher than the 32 seed, which they had to fight Glitch for in the first season, and back then they were a lot smaller of a bot, and they were 1-3, so they've never been 3-1. And so this is their best record they've had in 3 seasons, and they're taking on a much of a rookie, as Blip is only at 3-1, this is Blip's first season on the channel. And for Blip, they fought some very good bots this season, and so Bloodsport wants to prove that they're a much of a contender for that giant nut, as much as Blip wants to prove that too. And so Bloodsport is going to have to use whatever configuration they choose. They're going to have to be good enough to win this fight. It most likely their first tournament win ever. Let's see who wins this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. It looks like Bloodsport will get under with that new configuration they are using, which is a lot longer. Hopefully a lot more durable than their last configuration they used against Paw Pressure, which did not work at all. It looks like Blip is getting under, now having Bloodsport on their back, and they help self-right Bloodsport. Blip's flipper is not very strong. They have to more dominate the fight for them to have any chance of winning. And so far they are, I would say, but Bloodsport is getting some good jabs on them. So it's a very even matchup so far in some ways. And now Blip gets under them again and flipping them around again. Very good receiving with a flip by Blip. Bloodsport is struggling a little bit, but they're finding their groove. And they're trying to fight it fast. And there, as they do a good sequence on Blip. Getting under Blip again. That's what you want to see when you're Bloodsport. But Blip has to take control more if they want to have a chance to win this fight. And they get under again. And they throw Bloodsport out of the arena. What a win by Blip. What a unexpected win by Blip. Bloodsport did what they thought they needed to do to win this fight, but Blip had the better flips and the better shots in this fight. They had Bloodsport, I would say, on their head somewhat of more as they were on their, they could actually attack Blip, but Bloodsport did not do what they needed to do, was get under enough, and Blip found some good sequence of flips they could, and they really set the tone for this fight. And Blip proved more that they can be a contender, and Bloodsport is proving that more and more, but not enough since they lose this fight to Blip. Great win by Blip as they move on to the round of 16. Great win by Blip as they move on to the round of 16 for the first time ever, and they will play the winner of the 7-seed Roadkill or the 26-seed Duke, which we will see at the end of the episode. And for our next fight, we will head back to Quadrant 3. For our next fight, we will see the 6-seed Mannerheim take on the 27-seed Bloodbath. Now we see the 6-seed Mannerheim take on the 27-seed Bloodbath. And Mannerheim making this season, they were making their debut on this channel from Ballistic Test Robotics. And they're sitting at 3-1 on the season, which their only loss is to Witch Doctor, which is a 2-seed. And so they have proven that they're a superior bot. And even though they're a rookie, they could be they could win this season as a rookie, which would be insane. But they have to go through a tough test in Bloodbath, which has been up and down, but this season they got a redesign, which they have proven that this redesign has been effective. And so for Mannerheim, they have to get a lot of flips if they want to win this fight. For Bloodbath, they have to somehow get under Mannerheim, which will be very hard since Mannerheim is basically a brick. Let's find out who wins this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. Looks like Bloodbath will get under first, but then Mannerheim get a good flip. Good flip by Mannerheim to start off. But they have to get under again, but looks like Bloodbath will get under and take some of the tempo away from Mannerheim. But Mannerheim can come back in a jiffy. And there is a great flip by Mannerheim getting to the back of Bloodbath. Bloodbath has to avoid that if they want to have a chance at winning this fight. They gotta let this fight go on for a little while so they can take full momentum of this fight in their hands. But so far, Mannerheim making sure they don't do that. I did another good flip. And another. Mannerheim landing some small flips. Has had 4 so far. And another small flip. So far, 5 flips by Mannerheim. And there's a 6th flip, and there's the end of the fight. This fight, it did not matter what Bloodbath was even trying to remotely do against Mannerheim, because Mannerheim shut that down as quick as they could. After Bloodbath thought they had some momentum, Mannerheim landed a great flip, getting Bloodbath on the screws. And Mannerheim eventually got a good sequence of flips at the end to end any hope of Bloodbath winning this fight. Great win by Mannerheim as they now move on to the round of 16 as a rookie. Great comeback win by Mannerheim as they now will take on another brick in Barricade in the round of 16. And for our next fight, we will move down to quadrant 2. In the next fight, we will see the 2-seed Witch Doctor take on the 31-seed Captain Shredderator. Now we see the reigning runner-up in Witch Doctor and the 31-seed Captain Shredderator. Witch Doctor, whether to win or to lose this fight, this will be their 20th fight they've played in 3 seasons, which is, I think, one of the highest, if not the highest, out of this entire channel, which is insane. And for Captain Shredderator, they are sitting at 5 wins and 9 losses, which their entire match that they've played, which is 14, they've almost played as many as Witch Doctor's wins, which Witch Doctor has 15 wins. So Witch Doctor, on paper, should be the favorite to win this matchup. But weirder things have happened in Battlebots. Let's see who wins this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. It looks like Witch Doctor will get the first hit on Captain Shredderator. And again, Captain Shredderator is not doing a single thing to Witch Doctor like we predicted though. And Captain Shredderator trying to do something, but Witch Doctor battling him around, using their aggression to not let Captain Shredderator do much of anything. As they're letting them spin up, but they know that they're the lower bot. They're not really worried about them letting Captain Shredderator spin up as long as they get the good hits they want on Captain Shredderator. And a great job by Witch Doctor as they get under the Captain Shredderator, put Captain Shredderator on the screws, and Captain Shredderator on their head, and Captain Shredderator is out of the arena. What a dominant performance by the reigning runner-up. They took championship level matchup to Captain Shredderator, and Captain Shredderator could not handle it whatsoever as Witch Doctor battled around Captain Shredderator with ease and even put Captain Shredderator in the screws on their back, and had a good sequence and eventually threw Captain Shredderator out of the arena. Great win by Witch Doctor as they move on to the round of 16 for the 3rd season in a row, as they will take on the 15-seed Sawblaze in the round of 16. And for our next matchup, we will move to quadrant 3 yet again. For our next matchup, we will see the 14th seed Bloodsport take on the 19th seed Bronco which will be the final match in Quadrant 3. We have the 14th seed Bloodsport taking on the 19th seed Bronco. I believe of the night, that's probably one of the most interesting matchups in terms of seeding, because we're having a not very good flipper take on a very powerful bot in Bloodsport. And on paper, you would think that Bronco is the favorite due to their record, but since Bloodsport teared apart Endgame, you might think otherwise. Because Bloodsport, even though having the worst record, they had a really bad weapon for two and a half or more of seasons, and so they haven't really had a good weapon. And for Bronco, they have never faced a bot like Bloodsport, and so we've seen the sheer power of Bloodsport, but we'll have to see how it can do against Bronco. Let's see who wins this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin, and it looks like Bloodsport will draw first blood against Bronco, and Bloodsport bringing some sheer power by ripping off one of the forks of Bronco, and now the flipper. There goes the flipper of Bronco. That's going to make things a lot harder for Bronco in every case, and Bloodsport using that very powerful weapon. But that wedge of Bronco is starting to battle around Bloodsport a little bit. That is not good for Bloodsport. They're going to have to keep an eye on that wedge so they can have a chance at winning this fight. And Bronco is not super low, but they can that back wedge can do something. That is not good for Bloodsport. As there goes one of the wheels for Bronco, and Bloodsport starting to tear piece by piece a little more each time. But Bronco is very much durable, as we would not think in this fight, as they are bouting around Bloodsport a little too much for Bloodsport's liking. And Bloodsport now getting some good shots on the sides, and Bloodsport needs to break that back wedge if they possibly can, and those two last wheels. And there goes part of the blade of Bloodsport. This now fight has turned for the worst on Bloodsport. I knew that blade was fragile, but it came off against the worst timing possible against Bronco, and now Bronco can take full control, but it's going to be a lot harder for them to do that because they don't have their flipper. But if Bronco can somehow take control, they could win this fight and get, I would say, an upset against Bloodsport, but they are still losing to Bloodsport, as Bloodsport now using those forks more, and they are now the lower bots. They picked apart Bronco some more, and they just broke Bronco in half, and this fight is over, and it looks like Bloodsport will take the win.
10, 9,
great win
8,
by Bloodsport,
7,
as
6,
they now
5,
will move
4,
on
3,
to the round
2, 1,
of 16. That was a very dominant win by Bloodsport, even though Bronco came back with a surge at the end. Bloodsport started off with breaking off one of the forks and the flipper of Bronco, which really worked in their favor. But Bronco used that back wedge a lot, and it gave Bloodsport some hesitancy against Bronco, because that back wedge was working way too well for Bloodsport to like that at all. But Bloodsport weapon even broke off against Bronco, which I was not expecting that to happen. And for Bloodsport to do that, they might have a scares in that first matchup, which you do not want to see in a round of 32 matchup, especially for Bloodsport with that kind of weapon. And Bronco gave up some firepower when they couldn't have the ground game to outlast Bloodsport's ground game, and Bloodsport eventually tore apart Bronco in half and took home the win. Great win by Bloodsport. Great win by Bloodsport. As that now rounds out the quadrant 3. We will see the 3 seed Whiplash, the 14 seed Bloodsport, the 6 seed Mannerheim, and the 11 seed Barricade in the round of 16 from quadrant 3. Now let's move down to see the last match of the right side of the round of 32. For our last matchup to round out the round of 32 on the right side, we will see the 7 seed Roadkill take on the 26 seed Duke. Now we have the last matchup of the right side, which is the 7 seed Roadkill versus the 26 seed Duke. And Duke won against, well, in a way, 3 other bots in Monochrome, Fusion, and Glitch to get here. And they beat him in like a main event little mini tournament to get here, and Duke is sitting at 4-2 on the season because of that mini tournament. And for Roadkill, they're 2 wins away from getting 10 wins on the season, on the career. And so for Roadkill, they want to do that, but they're playing a fellow bot with very similar colors and a very similar, very good flipper. So this will be very interesting to see who can win this fight. It will definitely be a flipper battle. Let's see who wins this fight down in the pits. Let's head over there right now. Let the bot battle begin. It looks like Roadkill will get under and get 2 flips. Now it looks like Duke will get under and land 1 flip. So far, Barry back and forth. And Duke gets under again and lands another flip. 2 flips by each bot. And there's a 3rd by Roadkill and a 4th.
Knockout.
Great win by Roadkill. What a great win by Roadkill. Both teams exchanged flips in the first part, but then Roadkill ran away with the flips, getting 2 more to end the fight. Awesome win by Roadkill, as they now will move on to the round of 16. Awesome win by Roadkill. That is now going to round out the quadrant 2, as we will see in quadrant 2, going to the round of 16, you will see the 2 seed Witch Doctor, the 15 seed Sawblaze, the 7 seed Roadkill, and the 10 seed Blip. Now let's see the bots for the left side at the round of 32. That will be the next episode. The bots in quadrant 4 for the left side of the round of 32 we will see next episode are the 4 seed Fourface, the 29 seed Diablo, the 13 seed Hydra, the 20 seed Biohazard, the 5 seed Emulsion, the 28 seed Flipjob, the 12 seed Nemesis, and the 21 seed Clock Rusher. Now let's move to quadrant 1 for the other bots we will see. Now the bots for quadrant 1 are the 1 seed Bonk, the 32 seed Blacksmith, the 16 seed Uppercut, the 17 seed Jackpot, the 8 seed Mad Catter, the 25 seed Blue Flame, the 9 seed Hypershock, and the 24 seed Hammerhead. We will see quadrant 1 and quadrant 4 next episode, which will be the left side of the round of 32. See you in the next one. Bye!